Welcome everyone. I'm going to take us on a journey today. Follow a line, follow a path, an ancient path, an ancient waterway. But hopefully by the end of the video you'll see that it's much more than a waterway. Excuse me. So the reason why I'm doing this post, and I'm going to take my time with this post, is because a friend brought to my attention that there was a fire, and that fire happened in Brighton. Now the name Brighton caught my attention. Everything's in the spell, everything's in the language. But it wasn't just Brighton that caught my attention. It was the place where the fire happened, or said to have happened. Now, by this point in time, we should all know that our news, more or less, everything is fabricated. It's not only fabricated, but if you follow my work on Facebook, you'll see that everything's kind of coded. No, it's not kind of coded, everything is coded to the tree and to the portals within the tree. Everything is to do with ports and energies within this tree. Now, in the news, the Royal Albion hotel apparently caught fire. There's images which are on this video showing the upper floors and the flames and so on. But what's so interesting about the Royal Albion is the Tree of Life, which I post about and speak about, and which other people such as Gary Bilclett and Caroline Hoare write about. The spine of Albion, the ley line that goes through Britain. Well, this just happens to be the story of the fire. We'll have a little zoom in. I'll try and take my time with this because it's quite an eye-opener. It's quite a journey. It's what I've been mapping for years, but I want to show on video if I can capture this. So this is Brighton Pier, and as you can see it's a large dome. For those who follow my work, it is like a circuit board. Okay, but the question is, where does the circuit board go? Where does the energy go? Everything is energy. Yeah, can you see this line? So here is the Royal Albion Hotel, and here you have an obelisk. Again, obelisks and monuments. Granite conducts, carries electricity. And these buildings, all these buildings here, are sitting and designed in a specific way, carrying and pointing the energy to this central point. You can see there's other buildings here, which of course is visited by many people, and people are 80% salt water. Salt cells, salt carries energy, frequency, vibration. We're walking batteries. So this amusement arcade, this place, carries our energies. But what are those energies? And the clue is in the news stories, which they're obliged to tell us. A fire in the tree on Albion. I'm sorry, maybe jumping the gun here for people who are new to my work, but the Royal Albion. Now if you put in a search, there are a few Albions in the London area, 4 or 5, including Chinese takeaways and, you know, upmarket parts of London. But if you follow this line, which is the pier, the Brighton Pier, and you continue that line, we'll go and have a look at the line briefly, just in case my PC crashes or something happens. But anyone who's familiar with my work, you'll know that the spine of Albion comes through Southampton and through the Isle of Wight, and it comes through here, which you can physically see in the road layouts and the way things are laid out as you get into this area. But this area itself is very interesting because the area is known as, well, St Clair, okay, which I'll get back to. St Clair, sorry. Yeah, let's zoom in. So this is the area of St Clair, which shows strange bridges, military equipment. I don't know what that is, but the area is known as Caine. I'm probably pronouncing that completely wrong, but look at that picture. Look at the three towers. Look at the dome. Anybody who's familiar with the Twin Towers, the dome, 7, it's a cathedral. But the name Caine, Caine, the spine of Albion is the Caine, you see. And as I've been saying to people all along, this is where the spine of Albion comes to, at the Hippodrome. The Hippodrome is connected to the Olympians, the gods, you know. But it's not so much that is the purpose of me showing this. Here is the tree, the branch of the tree, the trunk of the tree, the spine of Albion. Oh, excuse me, all the way, didn't mean that, all the way through the English channel from Caine, Caine and Able, the Caine on the tree, the Christmas tree, through the Royal Albion, the spine of Albion, the fire apparently. And if we follow this Royal Albion line, what I have been showing people in my posts is that Britain was much more water, and we are, as I said earlier, 80% water, and it was a tidal place, Britain, in the past. Salt water fed in through these large channels, English channels, Anglish, angel-ish. The word angel and the word in Hebrew for man is ish. Britain is the man. This is the Isle of Man. If this is the Isle of Man, where is the man? Scotland is the head. Britain, the rest of Britain is the body, and Ireland is part of the belly, I would say. But this here, this waterway, is known as, it's very important, and I don't want to miss this out, but it's known as the Orm, the River Orm, Oost. This is the Orm, where are we? So, and that here is taking us over to Oost, and that takes us over into what was an ancient, what I believe, the serpent on the pole. So this line I'm following, that's the spine of Albion coming down here, and this is the path of a serpent, a great Ormiston, a great dragon, a great snake upon a pole, which comes down into Brighton. Now what's so important about Brighton? The word bright and ton is a legal term, town, ton, but bright from a biblical point of view, and if this is the tree, bright is the word shining, for the shining ones, and that's what we read of in the tree of life, the shining ones. It's the word Bahar, Hebrew word, Bachar, which means bright, Brighton. The word ton, town, is a legal jurisdiction. And the tree of life is where the law comes from. And Britain is the tree of life. The tree of life comes up through here. But this path here, where the Royal Albion, they have to tell us things. And this path here, where the Royal Albion meets Caine. And by the way, for those who are fans of the Sinclairs, the Sinclairs are one of the reptilian serpent families that make their way up this pole to join through the great river the Ormiston, which we know today as the Thames, which was known as the Nile, the Upper Nile. And if you follow this line from Brighton, the Royal Albion, straight through, of course it's going to take you straight to the Thames, to the City of London, but one place in particular, to the victorious of the Draco Hanoverian bloodline, to the great waterway, and this is what this is here, the Hackney Marshes, coming down into Victoria Park, right down through, the waterways are still there. This is the great Ormiston, the great waterways, the great snake, the great serpent that rides upon the pole, the great dragon that crosses into the Thames. The Thames is the Upper Nile Delta, and the great dragon is what the Egyptian god, I suppose, Ra. He travelled on the boat, the canal, the channel, the canal, over the Milky Way, beating back the great dragon, the great orm, the great serpent that tried to devour paradise. And this is what this line is. At one time, sorry, I don't know why that's gone all blue, but at one time, these important museums and gardens, new lands, it's telling you, these were all ancient waterways. They became roadways, big parks, places they couldn't really build on. But most people, this is the shocking thing, most people don't realise that the whole of the earth, or well, especially Britain, this is the tree. This is the tree of life, and Britain was much more water and a lot less land. And if we follow these clues which they give us in the news, and follow these ley lines from, because these are ley lines and energy lines, if we follow these clues in the news, rather than fear the stories or think horror or whatever, because they want to control us by fear and horror and death and the cost that things will be to us because tragedies happen. So, but these are all things to cause fear. And if you follow this line, I don't want to get too far into it, but look, you've got Limehouse Library, Limehouse is red bricks, energy. You've got Rotherhithe Bruno Museum, a key, like waterways, a key, because these were all waterways. You can still see the ancient waterways. These here were starforts, these were canals, these were starforts. There's a starfort here, there's a starfort there, there's a small starfort there, and these were all the waterways, these rather really green areas. And that waterways, or even in the names of places, it tells you, you can look at some names, Divers Cove, water, there's still water here. Modern concrete and everything is sort of hiding everything, farming, agriculture. But this is the great orm, the great snake, one of the snakes. And I suppose you could say the snake winds its way up through the tree of life, and this is the tree of life, the spine of Albion here, which I've said many times. So the snake winds its way up through, and as I said, there's at the very beginning of the video recording, the blog, there are 4 or 5 different Royal Albions. If you put in on the map and Google Royal Albion, and it'll come up 4 or 5 here, because it's a whole network here of a river. And that river, so I'll go back to this as well, this river coincides or joins completely over here at this place known as Heathrow. Everybody knows Heathrow. Well, Heathrow is a big Star of David, and the Star of David is kind of a big pointing to the waterways which are here, waterways which are all round here. Oh, sorry. Yeah, but Heathrow is a big, it's not a Star of David, it's a Star of Rephaim. You know, that's what it is, it's a star. But that is the central canal system, and the Spine of Albion just runs up not far from here. But this here is an ancient waterway. I'm seeing so much here. You can see the waterway here. Again, this is where the snake wraps around, and it comes around into Donington. And that's why so many people go to Donington Park. They get people to come there. It's all to do with energy. But this is the great orm, the great snake that wraps around the pole, and the pole is the centre of the Taurus field, because over maybe going too much here, but over central Scotland you've got Orion's belt, and you've got the 13 houses that move over, making the cross, which is the Cygnus the Swan, the cross. By the way, another thing today in the news, again back to Bright House, Shining Ones, the Bright Shining. Today in the news there was something about Swans, Prince Charles, sorry, King Charlie Boy, now being the new trustee, or the person who takes care of swans, because the corona protects the shining, the corona, the shining ones protect the swan, which is Cygnus the Swan, which sits up here in the northeast of Scotland, the house of safest resurrection. And this is the journey through the central belt, Orion's belt, and everything projects from this central belt, the cross. This is the cross. So you would journey up through the tree, come across, and then up into collect your crown, your corona, Cygnus the Swan, which was on the news today. There was also something about the hawk, the Harris hawk, in the BBC News. I'll try and put that in as well. And the reason why a Harris hawk is so important is because the two birds, the two-headed eagle, the two represents the two birds which you see in masonry, the two serpents going up the pole. One's a black hawk, or a black bird, or a hawk, which a Harris. Harris is the Hebrew word Harishon, which means in the beginning, or Bereshit, in the beginning. So Harris and hawk was highlighted in the news. Like I'm saying, it's all stories. I picked up on this, and this started doing this sort of video capture because somebody, a friend, had said about the Royal Albion Hotel. But every single thing we see in the news is coded to the Tree of Life, to the Kundalini energies, to the snakes, to the double-headed eagle, to what masonry shows the double-headed eagle, one being the black bird, or one being the hawk. Harris, the word Harris meaning Harishon, the first. Harris, as in the Isles of Harris, up here, the first, the point of creation. Because, as I keep saying in all my posts as well, Scotland is the head, and the rest of the UK is the rest of the body. I hope this video makes some sense to you. I hope it's all recorded loud enough. This here, what I'm trying to say, this here is the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life continues all the way down into, it comes out at Caine, or Caine, where they make the movies, the Cannes Festival, Cannes Film Festival. It comes all the way down, and it comes down into Alexandria down here. The Spine of Albion continues all the way down. But here, the Sinclairs, the ones who see clairvoyance, the St. Clair's sin. This tree has an energy wave, a sin wave, and this is what sin is. So the sin waves move over the tree. There's a upper sin wave, and the Sinclair family are unfortunately on the wrong line. Well, feeding into, because everything comes back to Caine and Able. Are you Able or are you Caine? Caine murdered Able, yeah. So, but here back in the Caine, and as I said, if you follow this line, which you can see in the whole setup of the streets, and this was a big valley, a big waterway, an ancient waterway, not a waterway, but a serpent in the deep waters, and it feeds all the way down through the world. The world's not what we think it is. What I'm trying to show in my posts in Facebook and in these videos, and it's quite hard to get the message across, but this is Jacob's ladder. This is the tree, and there are 33 sacred points on this tree, 22 of them being in England or Lower Britain, Lower Man, and 11 of them being in Upper Man, which is the head. I shall make you the head and not the tail. What we call Scotland is actually Upper Greece. Thracia is this part here, Aberdeenshire. That's why you have Doric. Doric is a Greek term, Doric columns. It's a Doric language. They speak Doric here, Aberdonian, Doric. It's Greek. This is the land of Thracia, this is the land of Macedonia, this is the land of the Levites. Orkney is the land of the Or, which again, by the way, Or is light in Hebrew, and light takes us back to the shining ones, the Bachir, the bright ones, the shining ones. The shining ones are the rebellious serpents. The shining ones are the Nachash, the serpents who rebelled, who tempted Adam and Chava, Eve, Chi, to take from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And this serpent, the sin wave, the ones who see, the serpents who see, the ones who rose out of the waters, and this is what they're showing us. They're showing us the ancient snake path, the ancient waters, and the rivers are the ancient serpent path, which in the Egyptian story and in the Greek stories and in the Pictish stories and in all the stories, the dragon serpents are the ones who make humanity subdue or serve them or worship them, when really everything's projected in the tree, and all we need to do is take up our cross daily, really. So I hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully see you in another video sometime soon. This is the spine of Albion, and this is the Royal Albion. The roof is on fire. Only £55 a night. There's a code in that, and it's 3-star. Bye folks.